And we're live. I love saying that. It makes me very happy. Anyway, hello, whoever is here listening to this. Nobody right now. These are the second, or third actually, set of auditions for Semantically Challenged. Now, so far, everything has been absolutely wonderful when it comes to auditions. I wasn't sure what to expect going into this, but I have been pleasantly surprised by the amenability and such of this fandom to making a book on tape. It has gone pretty well, actually. So, on Tuesday, which was when these started, we had 3 people auditioning, which was quite fun. We had somebody auditioning for Kyle, and somebody else who originally auditioned for Craig, but eventually ended up switching over to Butters. And we had somebody audition for Token or Craig, both of which they could have done very easily. It went really well, you know. The only one we have decided for sure is Butters, which will now be voiced officially by Paige, as she would like to be called on this. But anyway, today we are going to be, well, I should talk about the second one. The second one was somebody auditioning for some background characters. They tried some out, and eventually we decided upon Heidi for them. Of course, she'll have to be Cartman's girlfriend, but those are the breaks. Somebody had to do it. Today we will be, well, I won't be. WrenWretched will be auditioning for whatever part she decides to audition for. She's going to try several parts. Her voice is a little bit higher pitched, so I'm thinking probably she'll be auditioning for Tweek, the narration of Tweek, or Bebe. Quite possibly another girl if those 3 do not fit her, but I'm willing to play around with stuff. These are, after all, children, and they don't necessarily have deep voices. And again, beggars can't be choosers. So, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to be inviting her in soon, though she apparently is getting home from work. Some of us actually have real lives. I am not one of them, but that's how life is, I suppose. So, yes. This whole thing has been really exciting for me. I personally have always had this idea that fan fiction is something that should be spread further than it really is. You know, I understand a lot of people, when they think of fan fiction, they think of the cringy stuff, they think of the crappy stuff, they think of all of that jazz that nobody really wants to promote that stuff. Nobody really wants to talk about the crappy OCs and the other horrible things that have come out of fan fiction. But on the flip side, I think that fan fiction is able to tackle things that quite possibly a normal medium, such as books or other forms of literature, are not able to tackle quite as well. Fan fiction is, I feel, better able to tackle real world issues without having to worry about not being published because the ideas are controversial and they're able to have a dialogue with the readers more than a normal book would have. I mean, with a normal book, you write it, you show it to some friends, they say something about it, you send it off to the editor, they send back edits, and then it hopefully gets published. I'm not quite up to date. I'm quite not snuff on my book publishing whatevers, but that's the general idea. Whereas with fan fiction, maybe you don't have so many layers of editing. Maybe you're writing it and you look over it once before you put it up, but by doing this, you're not editing yourself as much. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily sound like a good thing, but I do think that once people start thinking about how they're going to be perceived for writing something, or the backlash they could get, or the negative press for something, that people tend to curtail what they want to say. Not everybody does it. A lot of people don't, in fact, curtail anything. And they'll say any number of things without any thought for what it might cause. But I feel fan fiction writers are an interesting spot because they're able to talk about things in a more traditional medium, or a sort of traditional medium, which is writing. They're able to take works of fiction and create maybe not brilliant satires, but they are able to include real world issues. And perhaps they meld them into the fantasy. Maybe you can't quite tell what's real and what's not, but I would say that in some cases that's the best thing. It might shed light on the fact that maybe the real world has gotten so ridiculous that we can no longer tell when we're looking at something that isn't real. But I do feel like fan fiction writers, in addition to this, are able to tackle issues that most people don't really want to tackle for fear of not doing well. We're able, I mean, of course, we have a proclivity for writing about gay relationships, which is a fair statement to make. I would have to say, I'm not going to be trying to rebuff that argument, but at the same time, your traditional books, how many of them are out there that actually are tackling these issues? I mean, you have your gay erotic novels, obviously, your little paperbacks you find buried in the back of, oh, I don't know, Books and Co. or whatever bookstore you want to go to. Maybe you find them all over the shelves of your local half price bookstore. And that's kind of where they end up. They're bad, they're cheesy, they're stupid, they're stereotypical. You don't really like them. They only really apply or appeal to a certain demographic of people. And then you get other stories that are now trying to go beyond just gay, because gay has already been sort of accepted. You know, you got people writing a lot about trans stuff. But in writing about issues like that, I feel that oftentimes we're missing stuff, you know? I mean, shouldn't these kind of things be normal now that it's normal in culture? Well, and here Ren is. I've babbled enough. She should be jumping on in a moment, which will be absolutely wonderful. Of course, she'll probably have to get her microphone set up. But anyway, to finish my point I'm trying to make, I feel that fan fiction is able to normalize these certain things in a way that normal literature is failing to do so. Is failing us to do. It's We're working hard to normalize other things in literature, and we're seeing the beginnings of some things, but oftentimes it's fan fiction, people who are already pushing the boundaries of what most people would consider normal, that are actually tackling these issues at all. And, well, I think that's important. But maybe I'm just talking off the cusp. I probably am. Actually, I totally am. I don't have a script. But this is always something that's just struck me as important, and I had to fill the radio silence somehow, so if this ever actually gets posted on YouTube, I'm really sorry you had to listen to that complete disaster of a monologue. It's okay. We'll have more interesting people on shortly. I am just the human trash can that is the author of Semantically Challenged, and my wonderful readers are the whole reason that anybody actually cares. Because they're the reason that I care. Partly. But yes, it should be quite fun. I should probably be getting the scripts up. Last time I was horribly unprepared and I was just scrambling around looking for different scripts. But this time I'm going to be more on my game. I promise. I know what I'm doing this time. I'm definitely not going to make a fool of myself again. But anyway, yes, going to be really quite fun. We only technically have 3 voices already set up: Kenny, Butters, and Heidi. Now, if something really strikes me, then I'm going to go for it. I'm not going to try to limit myself or choose something mediocre because I didn't choose the thing that I most wanted because I most wanted it and I felt that was favoritism. If whatever voice they do well, they're going to be seriously considered for it. For instance, trying to remember what username. Miranda, that's her name. Miranda auditioned for Kyle, and she did an excellent Kyle. But I'm still kind of trying not to box myself in, mostly because Kyle's one of those characters that is going to need to have really good dynamic with the person who plays Stan, obviously. And also some level of dynamic with Cartman, though no shipping Kaiman here. Grr. I do not like that ship. Nah, I mean, anybody can ship whatever they want. That's the magic of fanfiction. Which reminds me, I was watching quite the amusing video today. It was a YouTuber that I'm struggling to remember the name of at this point, talking, about fandoms and how trash they were. And to be honest, it was very cathartic to hear, especially as I'm hearing him point out every single thing that I myself do and thinking, wow, you're right. That is trash. Huh. At the same time, though, it's kind of good to hear that is like from a standpoint of where you can maybe go, maybe we should tone that back a little bit so we can stop being quite as cringy. So this is one of those things. I really hope it doesn't end up being cringy. This has a lot of my personal aspirations in it, and I really hope it turns out well. And she should be on any moment, which will be absolutely wonderful. I know this has been like already, I don't even know how long, me just talking out of my ass, but let me be honest, that's going to be a lot of these things. I am not I am not your best bet when it comes to how articulate I am about things. This is definitely a very off the cusp, just trying to get these ideas out there so we can get this all off the ground. When we get to like actually uh, recording these different sessions, they're going to be a lot more, I would say, professional than this is. This is clearly very casual, but I think that's good because WrenWretched did mention she was a little nervous, and I understand. I was terrified the first time this started, and to be honest, this is probably my version of nervous talking, even though I'd like to think that I'm a little bit more eloquent, if a little more drunk sounding when I do it. I don't know. It's not my place to say, I suppose. But yeah, hopefully we'll never post this and I will never have to look at it and I will never have to think about how just god awfully cringy I am. But who knows? It might end up being interesting to see someday. Oh yeah, it's just another fun note. I have some. So for the story, obviously, I'm going to have to put out scripts so that people can read it. But And I was really kind of like dreading it because, that's a lot of work for me. But one of my readers actually recently stepped up. Their username is Fireheart845, and they recently stepped up and decided to do all the scripts for me. And I am honestly so happy because I did not want to do that at all. It's just boring and annoying, and I have to read over my own work, which inevitably makes me wish that I could just die already. Technical difficulties. What a shame. Mhm. Very fun. Very fun. She'll be on in a moment. I know, it's already been 20 minutes of listening to me talk. I'm sure all of you are sick to death of listening to me talk. But that's how this is. Hopefully, if I ever actually decide to post this will all be edited out and you won't hear any of it except for the beginning and then this part, so that I can show that you missed something quite horrendously stupid. But, then again, I probably won't add it just for the sake of your sanity. I'd rather not drive you crazy with my terrible, terrible, off the cuff speaking. Oh no, more technical difficulties. Of course. Just my luck. If I screw something up, don't look like it. Oh, annoying. Yeah, I suppose one of the problems with doing stuff through sites instead of doing things in person is that you have to deal with technical difficulties. I don't know. All the YouTubers I ever watched. Oh, and here they are.
Hello.
Greetings. I was monologuing to myself, filling radio silence because I am so very awkward. Hello. So,
Hello.
welcome to the very unofficial feeling auditions. I admit it doesn't feel very official when it's just the two of us, but you know what? We'll make up for that by making this productive and wonderful and possibly interesting if we can swing it.
Sounds good to me.
Excellent. So, first off, is Ren a good name to call you, or would you prefer to be known by something else?
Ren is definitely the name I prefer to go by.
Wonderful. That's what I've been calling you, but I don't want to, I personally, when I first started out, I was really bad at like pseudonyms and names and doing stuff. So I had several issues where it was just a bunch of random names and people got really confused. So I just want to give you the chance to clear it up if there's any confusion. So,
All good.
how you doing? I heard you've had a bad day.
Oh, yeah. It's been kind of an insane one. That's an
Oh
understatement.
no. Those are always the worst. Anything in particular that was terrible or just
Oh, geez. It was just one thing after another at work. And, just one of those days where everything that can go wrong does go wrong. And it's my job to make sure that things don't go wrong. So.
oh man. That just sounds like so much fun.
So much pressure, that's for sure.
So I'm trying to recall what you said your job was. You mentioned it in one of your comments and I'm failing to remember.
Oh, I think I may have. It's so I'm an administrative coordinator at this high-tech security and consultant and engineering firm. Uh,
Wow.
Yeah.
You have a
And
real life. You have a job.
yeah. Yeah. Keeps me busy. Keeps me busy, that's for
Definitely.
sure.
That's pretty cool. I have to admit that's pretty awesome.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out where my scripts went. They're in here somewhere, I promise.
It's fine. And if I need to, I can pull them up. You should have seen us all trying to scramble to find lines the last 2 days. Been doing it. It was quite funny. But the last person who tried it yesterday, they were originally going to try out for Tweak, but I decided I didn't really like their voice for the character. So I said, "Hey, do you want to try Heidi?" And I didn't have any script for Heidi, so we had to like find a section from the show that she could read.
Excellent.
We ended up going with the classic episode 7 Heidi telling Kyle that he's a dirty Jew in the most roundabout way possible. Just a
That's a great scene.
it is so wonderful, and I hope to goodness that my chapters will line up just right so I can put that in the story and not
I'm
feel
definitely
like,
looking forward to it, so
oh man, that entire section, the whole election season and the aftermath is going to be probably the best part of this story.
yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of friends who they're really against South Park. They've never understood or liked it. And I was just like, okay, well, you have to start watching from like season 19 and just sit with me. I promise it'll be worth it. It's got some really interesting things to say. And now she's hooked. So
You know what? That's the way to do it. I started off because so it's funny. I live in a town where we don't really have edgy people. We have people pretending to be edgy people. So we have a lot of goths and emos. And I was trying to explain to my parents without really knowing how to what the difference was between them. My dad was like, "You know what you should watch? You're not allowed to watch South Park because you're way too young, but I'm going to let you watch 3 episodes, the ones with the goth kids," which were amazing episodes, but I was hooked instantly. So
that's
after
awesome.
that, I came downstairs in the middle of the night and found South Park on the DVR and was like, "Ooh, I want to watch it." And the very fourth episode I watched, this is including the Goth Kids episodes, very fourth episode was Tweak and Craig, and I was like, you know what? I belong here.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, no, I mean, I get the feeling I'm a bit older, but
Don't
I've
worry,
been watching for a
we have some older people in this. You're not going to be alone. But how long have you been watching?
while. Let's see. They're on their 21st season right now,
Yeah, I think
22nd,
so.
something like that.
This should be
So
first.
I think the first time I probably ever watched it was like age 8 or 9.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
It's not quite as old as I am, but it was coming out around the time when my age group was the edgier members of my age group were very interested in it. So
Ah, yeah, I'm a lot I feel like I'm a lot younger than the people who are mostly doing this, and I feel kind of like, "Oh no, I'm like the
I
little
mean, I've got
baby."
friends from age like 16, 17, all the way to like 50. So
You've got the full gamut of
oh
friendships.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Excellent. That's
What
the way
is
to
my,
go.
I don't know why. So my tablet keeps trying to open it up as like an ebook instead of a document. So I'm a little confused what's going on here.
That is really strange. I didn't know you could open up these things as an ebook.
I didn't either, but I've only had this tablet for like a month, so
Ah. Oh, it's on the subject of new electronics. I recently got a new computer, which is the only reason I'm able to actually do this because my old computer had no um, most of the functions that this one does, especially with this whole live streaming kind of idea. And
yeah.
uh, I used to have
I
one of
work
those. Oh,
a
continue.
lot. I work around computers a lot, so
Yeah, this is very new for me, so I'm still like really confused when stuff doesn't work. I'm like, but it's supposed to be better. It's just that I'm stupid and I don't know how to use it.
I mean, if I hadn't been using them since I was 18 months old, I probably would be very confused with like modern tech.
I feel like I have to grow up around it, otherwise it just is baffling.
Yeah, I mean,
I grew up
yeah,
around it and it's baffling.
yeah. I mean, so the area where I'm from is so you probably know the Bay Area in California.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Ah, it's
Yeah,
a
so I grew
little.
up surrounded by this. I grew up in the Silicon Valley. I actually grew up like
Wow,
around people whose parents worked at like Facebook and Lockheed Martin and like Google and yeah.
that's pretty crazy.
That's most of my like social group. Like my company works for like well, our clients are some of our biggest clients are Facebook, Airbnb, um, uh, Uber, Lyft. We do all sorts of stuff, but I've
Mhm.
always been very, very ingrained in like this kind of like computer culture. And it's really funny to you that you didn't know the difference between emo and goth just because like I don't know if I think my camera's on. Yeah, my camera's on.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
You can kind of
Um,
get an idea that I am part of those communities.
well, it would mean it's like I had a lot of friends who even if they didn't self-identify as them, people place them into those categories. But it was they wouldn't identify with one of them, but if you tried to call them the one that they were not, they would get all upset about it. It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, no, I'm not a goth. I'm not weird and edgy and whatever. Or, oh, I'm not an emo. I don't hate myself. I just hate everybody
I
else.
feel
And
like
it's
we
like
all go through an emo stage. It's called puberty.
called puberty, although I feel like my puberty got delayed some ways because I was really self-aware as a child and was all ready for it. And I was like, yeah, I can't wait for my emo stage. I can't wait for the stage I know everything. I can't wait for this to happen. It never did, and I felt really disappointed. I feel like that had to come naturally. And then
I mean,
yeah, continue. Sorry.
oh no, I was interrupting. It's fine.
If you let me, I will talk forever. But I was just going to say that I think all of that started to come out in my fan fiction writing.
Getting to do it in post. All right. Well, I think I have access to the scripts now. I'm
Wonderful.
gonna warn you in advance that my ability to press my voice for tweak might not really be something that can happen. Because of how sore my throat actually is.
Honestly,
You can't tell, but
so especially with Tweak and Craig, and now my thing is echoing. One moment. How do I fix the sync? Whatever.
uh-oh.
Anyway, until it annoys me, the thing about Tweak and Craig is basically you're gonna have to be able to do it for a very long time. Is I This story is gonna go on past 500 chapters at this point. I know it still says 240, but that's my little estimate, so that when I get to like chapter 180, I can be like, "Ooh, look, more chapters," and people will be happy. But um, yeah.
Trust me, we all will be.
So if a voice is uncomfortable for you to do, especially Tweak, or Craig, if you ended up wanting to try to do the narration for his character or the narration for Tweak's character, if the voices aren't comfortable, then just say something and we can switch to a different character, because it's going to be something you do a lot of.
All right, fair enough. No, that's definitely something
So
good
we can
to
start with
kind of
Tweaks. We can
acknowledge.
start with his narration. Start with Bebe. Whatever character you want to try.
All right, well let's start with Bebe because that's definitely the one that I was most confident with as I was going into this, and I'm just hoping that my tablet isn't going to crap out on me as I'm doing this. So,
Well, listening to your voice, I have to say that it does strike me as more of a good voice for Bebe than potentially one of the other girls, because a lot of the other girls I would say have higher pitched voices, and
okay,
yours
so
is
you want
definitely.
something that's a little bit lower for her.
Yeah, I do, because I don't know. I guess especially with these characters, you know, because they're young, the deeper their voice is, usually the more serious you can kind of judge their character to be. I feel like Bebe can turn on that like happy, bright, like little girl voice, but she also has more of a normal voice that's a little bit deeper because she is more mature.
I definitely feel that, and I part of the conflict I was feeling here in terms of what voice I wanted to use for any of the characters really was that I didn't know how much you were trying to aim for, like the. Sorry, I talk with my hands a lot, which is probably why it's a good idea for me to have the camera on. But so I didn't know whether we wanted to go more towards like the show in the way that they're very juvenile, very high, you know, higher pitch, pretty much for all of them, including the guys,
Yeah.
or if you wanted something that was a little bit more natural and realistic, but potentially something that sounded a little bit more mature.
Well, I guess it all really depends on the character. Some characters, I think that basically the same voice will be able to go for the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that some characters definitely. I mean, I want all characters to have a more of a natural kind of thing,
Okay.
except for like Cartman, who person who's going to try out for that says that apparently she always does Cartman's voice, and you know it's just something that she's done with her brother for years, and so
Nice.
she's got that whiny voice down, and she really wants. Yeah, I love Cartman's whiny voice,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. And I think that that should just be for the entire story. But especially characters like Tweak and Craig, and at some level Clyde and Token. Hopefully, I kind of want them to become more mature as the story progresses. Maybe
Okay.
their voices. I mean, I'm going to try to show that in my writing, just how I write their characters. But again, those are going to be like the really, and those are the roles everybody's trying out for. It seems.
Yeah.
But
I mean, frankly, my biggest thing is that if my voice sounds like something that's going to fit somewhere better for you than what I'm actually auditioning for, go for it. I have done a lot of projects, not like this, not full audio, but I've done a lot of film work. I've done, you know, a lot of like performance stuff. And the hardest thing as the person who's doing the directing and as the person who is like trying to gather talent together is to have like there are lots of people who all want to do this one thing, but I have all of these other things that have nobody interested in them and they really need support.
you
So
know,
it was
yes, I totally understand that. I kind of felt like that at first when everybody was like, "Ooh, I can do a good tweak," and I'm like, not all of you can do a good tweak. I'm pretty sure. But I was very lucky on the Tuesday auditions because the person you know who'd kind of been like, I want to do tweak. She did some of his lines, and it didn't. And you know, I was kind of like, it's okay. But then I just gave her Butter's script, and it's she has the role now because it was so good.
nice.
So if
Nice.
something strikes me, I will absolutely like assign you that role,
Excellent.
especially if it's not Tweak or Craig, because those two I'm kind of hoping I can wait until the very end to finally make the decision because
That makes
those
sense.
yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't say do anything but that. I mean, they're the most important characters. You're going to want to make sure you get the full gambit before you
Oh,
choose.
and not just that, but I need whoever's doing their characters to like the two people to have good. I don't know if chemistry is the right word, but almost good chemistry because they need to sound like they fit together.
Yeah, no, totally agreed. And I think chemistry is the perfect word for that, in fact.
Yeah, you know, and I have some people, I have two people in particular who are actually dating and they wanted to try out for Tweak and Craig. They
Oh,
thought it'd be fun, but they have some other ones that they're willing to do. I mean, but that's the kind of thing that'd be really cool to have two people who already have chemistry. But
yeah,
whoever
no,
does do
absolutely.
it, yeah, it's definitely going to be a matter of it might not even be the people who necessarily do the voice. I was like, oh, I like that one sounds exactly like the character, but it might be the person who can work with the other, like the two of them can work together. So, yeah.
Solid. All
And I
right.
really,
Well,
yeah. So if you want to start
whenever
out
you're
with
ready,
that,
I've got Baby all queued up here.
yes. Excellent. And
So, and again, if you want, I can read through it a couple of different voices. There's several voices, variations on my voice that I can do fairly simply for a long period of time. So this is just my standard talking voice, but I also have a lot of different other accents and such that I do.
oh,
So
I've had, I mean, I'm not very good at them, but I do have, some whatever because I used to read to my sister,
yeah,
and I'd read. I mean, I've always read fan fiction to her, so I'd
nice.
always give them, not cartoonish voices, but comically played up voices. So I
Yeah,
have some experience doing really ridiculous voices, but I can never do like the really real kind of voices. But for this, you can read it however you most feel fits her character.
no
And
pressure, no
I
pressure there.
I mean,
All
you
right,
can read it, I will do this as many times as you want. I have till 10:30 until I need to then go to bed or actually finish writing the next chapter, which is
totally perfect because I've got to be at a metal show at 11 o'clock your time. So
nice. Yeah, I have to. I'll try not to post it at a bad time for you, so that
hey,
you
I
can read
maintain
it.
I legitimately stopped. There was some major drama going on too, and I just was like, everybody stop. I'm sorry. I have to go over there and read. And they were like, what, why? And I was just like, don't ask questions. I have to go over there and read.
Oh
So I was
goodness.
like holding my beer in the corner, just like on my phone.
That is an amazing image, and I love it. I love it. Makes me very happy that people have latched on to this story to the extent that they have.
I mean, it's very well written, and that's something hard to find even in mainstream writing, let alone fanfic. So, let alone South Park fanfic.
Well, it depends on fandoms. It's always a mix of what you're gonna get when
Yeah.
it comes to good writing. I feel like most fandoms I've been in have their really good stuff, and then they have dregs. Although I have been in one fandom where it was kind of like all like mostly good, and then there's just some that really stood out.
Yeah.
That was Durara fandom, and it was dying, so the only people who were there still were the really dedicated ones. So most stuff you were finding was already like, you know, good and had enough of a following that they were continuing it.
Nice.
So that was fun, but now I'm in South Park and man, I've read some really bad fan fiction.
Hey, shit's always weird in South Park.
That's true. Um, but I do like what you that it's funny you mentioned the fact that stuff sometimes fan fiction can be better than actual books. I feel like fan fiction because of the style it's done in, this whole like you're trying to keep people hooked per chapter instead of for one whole book and
It's
like
a lot like
engage.
serialized writing when it first began. Like in terms of newspapers and journals, and I really like that because I originally started working, or my original career path, which I might eventually go back to someday, who knows, was journalism and writing for serialized works. So, like in high school, I did serialized stories in the newspaper and stuff like that. And that was always a lot more fun to me. And that's kind of, I think, where a lot of my interest in fanfic came from, was the fact that it's in installments, and like you can get really, really engaged in it, and then you become almost part of it, as it's coming out. And I think that's honestly a lot of why people have really been drawn to your story, is that not only is it incredibly well written, it's really engaging, and it's happening so frequently that you can't help but to get really drawn in. You don't have that period of time to kind of fall away from it.
Well, I have to say I mean, the only reason that I started doing this crazy update thing was originally because I was on a crazy med that made me twitchy and paranoid and unable to like I couldn't focus on anything or I hyper focused on one thing. And so I was like, you know what? I think that I could actually write Tweak now. I think I know what he feels like. This is fun. Let's write South Park. Oh
So
man, and it was a treat.
yeah, I can relate. I until I got on the medication that worked for me about 4 or 5 years ago. some tweakness to me for sure. I finally got on some solid mood stabilizers, and they're awesome.
But good meds are just amazing.
Especially when you find out like 3 years later that you have epilepsy and it's been treating those too. That's always fun.
Wow. That
Yeah,
does sound
went off of them for 2 weeks and had a seizure. That was awesome.
oh man.
Hey,
That that uh that
sorry, I'm
sounds
like an open book. Like, if we end up
it's
working together
fine.
at all, you're gonna learn like entirely too much about me.
No, it's completely all right. That's, you know, you probably learn way more about me than you really want to know. I always feel like my author's notes are annoying because I always get
Oh, they're
really
great.
I go on horrible tangents and I babble a lot about stuff. And I was acting like a complete dork today, like putting because I now have an official Discord for the story because a lot of people.
Uh-oh. You still there? I think you cut out.
You should whatever. And I was being like a total dork about it, and I already regret it, and I probably will go back and change that because it's horribly awkward. But oh man, yeah. So trust me,
Okay.
if you talk to me too much, I will tell you way too much about me. You don't even want to know. That's okay. That's okay. We'll figure it out.
Don't worry about it.
Um, yeah. So if
So
you
yeah, let me
want
go
to
ahead and jump
read,
in.
yep. If you want to read
All
her
right.
lines, I can read. I can attempt to read Tweak's lines. I
Uh,
say attempt because I'm not very good at it, but but I will try.
All right. Well, right now I am full of like nervous energy, so hopefully I don't come off more as Tweak than Bebe.
If you want to do Tweak first, go with whatever you want to do. In fact, if you want to start with like Tweak narration because it's not as crazy as Tweak but crazier than Bebe, you can do that. Whatever works.
I actually kind of like that idea, so let me.
Yeah, I mean, of course, whoever does the narration for Tweak is another person who's gonna have to read a lot. But thankfully, that's one that you can totally just use your own voice. You
Yeah.
don't have to. You don't have to play it up as long as you can kind of get the pitch of how the words are written. Like some things are written faster. When he goes on his crazy tangents.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I
So,
definitely picked up on that, and I'm hoping that I can pull it off. So,
and
all
so just
right.
a note. One more thing, just a note. The person who's been helping me with like choosing voices, Telesthesian from the comments, but I call her Mama T. She might show up at some point, but she might not. So don't
Totally
worry
fine
though.
either way.
I am up on the thing. So yeah, if you want to do it, you can
Okay.
go.
He was staring again. Tweet could feel his eyes boring into the back of his head, probably burning a hole through his crazy blonde hair. Those icy blue eyes shooting lasers into his brain, probably killing him slowly just for fun. Just like always. Always. He was always staring, and it was always terrifying. Staring down at his paper, which swam in his vision, Tweak tried to ignore the boy behind him. He could hear him thinking. Thoughts of killing him, probably, leaving him in a ditch to rot where the maggots would eat him and no one would ever know he'd died. Tugging at his hair, Tweak tried to push the thoughts from his brain, but they just kept getting louder. From behind him, Wendy sneezed, and Tweak leaped half a mile and let out an involuntary wail. The worst part was the eyes boring into him still hadn't moved. Don't make eye contact. Don't turn around.
Okay,
Nope.
you show up into his eyes. He'll probably kill you anyways.
No, that wasn't true, was it? The Noirette hadn't even spoken to him. There was no way Tweak could have pissed him off, right? But then, why was he always staring?
I like that. I definitely, I like that you didn't try to do a Tweak voice for his narration. That was good. I like that because usually when I read it, I end up trying when I read stuff like this, I end up slipping into their voices. But I like that that was actually pretty good. And this is again one of those ones that I cannot make any like judgment calls on for a
Yeah, you
while.
gotta hear
But
everybody.
oh yeah, Because whoever does Tweak is going to have to be able to work with whoever narrates Tweak and all that fun stuff. But I do
Yeah,
like
well,
that.
as someone with a theater background and someone who has done film work, I'm very good at adapting to other people and working with them in group situations, and performance and production. So
That's going to be really useful. Thank you. Because the rest of us are amateurs.
I mean, I guess I'm still like mostly amateur. I've just done a few things here and there, but all right.
Well, you still have more experience than the rest of us, trust me.
Okay, well, good to know. All right.
So now this is something. Now I did put different emotions for the different
Mm-hmm.
things. So that is another thing that's kind of a suggestion. If you want to put emotion into like the narration for different parts, that is something you can do. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I don't know.
I like emotion. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so upset. All they could
Yes.
hear in his ears was his own voice and Craig's, repeating the same words over and over again, stuck in a loop that made him feel like puking. His own venomous, desperate words,
What do you want with me?
begging for Craig to say something, to apologize, to say anything, any of those empty things that made him feel better before. Anything to keep him from losing it, even though he was crying because it hurt so much. But all Craig had said was,
Nothing.
because why would he want Tweak for anything when he was broken and fucked up and nothing but a million disgusting emotions that he shouldn't even feel? Choking on his own breath, Tweak burst into his room and looked around at the walls that were closing in around him. All he wanted was to feel better. All he wanted was for things to stop hurting so much. He just wanted Craig back. The Craig who'd said fuck the system and meant it every single time. The Craig that had looked at him and told Tweak that he'd notice if he vanished. The Craig that had run to him when the monsters got to be too much. The Craig that had told him they'd always be fucked up together. The Craig that had let Tweak fall asleep on his shoulder as he pointed to the stars. The boy had pushed him around on the merry-go-round so he could feel like he was flying. The person who'd patted his head to calm him down.
The monster in the back of the class who just stared at me and never said a word.
As he sucked in a deep, shuddering breath, Tweak found himself yanking the man-bear pig pelt off his shoulders and throwing it in the corner. Pulling at his weapons belts, shedding them. Tweak twitched and rubbed at his dry eyes as the pain in his stomach got worse. He was nothing but a desperate idiot who'd believed that he might have some more. Sorry?
Fine, I just heard a door.
My cat.
I'm suddenly very surprised.
Suddenly there is cat. My bad.
No, wait. Cat?
Yeah, he
Where's
like
cat?
jumped over the. Sorry. Rewind.
I love them. They're wonderful. Yeah.
I'm just going to start from the top of that paragraph again.
Okay.
My bad. As he sucked in a deep, shuddering breath, Tweak found himself yanking the man-bear pig pelt off his shoulders and throwing it in the corner. Pulling at his weapons belts, shedding them, Tweak twitched and rubbed at his dry eyes as the pain in his stomach got worse. He was nothing but a desperate idiot who'd believed that he might have some worth. Reaching blindly for his shirt, Tweak only belatedly realized it was the shirt that Craig had gotten him. Feeling like he was about to scream, knowing he was about to scream, Tweak stumbled backwards from the thing in his room that made it feel like it was crumbling around him and tore out of his room, racing back down the stairs without a thought in his head except getting out. Ignoring the words his parents attempted to speak at him, Tweak shoved his way through the front door and out into the cold night air. It wasn't below freezing anymore, but Tweak hardly cared. It didn't matter if he was cold, the pain in his chest was more than enough to distract him. Without even really thinking about where he was going, Tweak just started running, ignoring the monsters that he knew were just out of sight, watching him and following him. It didn't matter anymore. He just had to get out. He had to escape the pain clogging up his throat and turning his blood to pure poison. All he wanted was Craig. He just wanted the boy to go back to normal, even if normal only turned out to be the Craig who stared at him and scared him and didn't give two shits about anyone. Tweak wanted that. He wanted that shining and terrifying thing he could look up to and aspire to be like. He wanted to go back to being alone, just so we wouldn't know what loneliness was like anymore. He wanted it to stop. Ugh.
Froze. Sorry. I missed the end of that, but that was really good. That was so good. That was amazing. I really like that. You're a good narrator. Seriously. I
Thank
like
you.
that.
I am also realizing, sorry, give me 1 second. I have to go like wipe my eyes because for some reason I started like tearing up in an allergy kind of way.
Oh man. What a
So
chapter to tear up at, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna yeah, I'll just pretend I'm crying because of the chapter. It's fine.
Yeah, nobody's gonna nobody I always I remember the first time I put out a chapter in this story that was actually like sad in any way. It was the chapter where Tweak was over at Craig's house and the monsters show up and it goes from like complete 180 from happy fluff and they're cuddling to oh god, somebody's gonna come kill Tweak and Craig and everything's gonna die. And I remember like eagerly like I was going ice skating that day because I ice skate, just for exercise. And I remember eagerly like getting off the ice and looking at the comments, just like, ooh, ooh, who did I make cry? Who did I make cry?
So that was actually the chapter that I wanted to read from, but I've realized suddenly that I don't have that pulled up anymore because today was crazy and I did not remember to do that.
That's
So
okay. I can find it based on the chapter titles, which are all random references that I hope I'll never have to explain because some of them are really weird.
let's
It should
see.
be it should be
Or Clockwork Angel.
oh yeah,
Oh,
that
the
one was a really good one
Clockwork
as well. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it's oh man, it's uh I want to say it's like Keep Close, which should be oh no, it would be the one before that, which would be Say a Prayer.
All right, let's see if I can pull that up. Also, my tablet is officially being a piece of crap, so I'm switching to my phone.
Okay. Honestly, it's funny. I always feel like I should start naming my chapters just like basically what happens in them so that I don't have to go all confused like, now what was I referencing there?
I just have like a cheat sheet somewhere.
I know, because I have like the most random references. Like there's one from a song by Knife Party that is really obscure, and there's one that's like this random Tumblr account that keeps showing up on my Tumblr that I don't even like, and I want them to go away, but they keep tagging their like stuff with this single tag. I'm like, fine, I'm naming a chapter after it. Uh, Me and my creative process. It's something, all right. So yeah,
So,
it should be chapter 20,
okay,
yeah, 28.
I think got a lot of narration or actual speaking in it, so I'm gonna have to find a way to work around that. But that's fine. It's something I would have to be doing if I was doing
Well,
it.
yeah, and if once we get like Tweak, if you end up doing the narration for Tweak, we'd have you guys in a stream together or something, and you guys would just run random sections and try to get that worked out. I think I have some other people who are offering to help me edit this stuff. Um,
All right,
so I'm
I think
looking.
I'll start after Craig has covered his ears, just so that there shouldn't be much in the way of speaking then because he couldn't hear anything. So, all right,
Yeah, I love that. I love the Craig's last line. It's just like, "Don't worry, I'm here. The monsters won't come," and
yeah.
they do. So
So
yeah.
Craig's eyes were wide. Tweek had never seen fear in the boy's eyes and would never have accused him of being afraid of anything, but at that moment, there was something approaching terror in those deep blue eyes. Even with Craig's hands covering his ears, Tweek could hear the slamming of another door and shouting coming from beneath them. His shaking returned in full. Tweek felt fear. His shaking returning in full, Tweek felt fear rush through him as a smashing sound cut through the night. A cry of panic kept trying to work its way out of Tweek's throat, so he covered his mouth with a hand, struggling to hold back the sounds.
Oh God! Oh God! What's going on? Why is Craig afraid? What is he afraid of? What's down there? I thought he said the monsters wouldn't hurt me.
There was another bout of shouting, then a scream of pain and anger. Sounds escaping the hand clapped over his mouth, Tweak shook harder and stared into Craig's eyes, unable to look away. Whatever Craig was trying to keep him from hearing was making the boy's face contort into a look of fear. His lips were parted, and with every crash and shout, he flinched, the motion traveling through his arms and into Tweak, getting lost in the blonde's trembling.
If it scares Craig, it must be something horrible. Don't Craig's parents hear it? Aren't they going to do something about the monsters in their house?
There were what sounded like screamed words echoing throughout the house, but with Craig's hands over his ears, Tweak couldn't understand them. As the fear choked him, Tweak struggled to breathe, but found he couldn't quite manage. He could feel Craig's heartbeat hammering, just through the boy's palms alone. Or maybe he was hearing it. Maybe Craig's heart was trying to drown out the sounds of the monsters underneath them. Images of fearsome beasts filled Tweak's mind, but he didn't dare ask Craig what they were, too scared of being heard by the creatures below them. Whimpers escaped his nose. Tweak couldn't stop them. The sounds drew Craig's eyes away from the darkness and towards him. Desperately, he shook his head, his eyes begging Tweak to keep quiet. Like this, huddling and terrified, Craig didn't look like a giant. He looked unbearably small. It terrified Tweak, because he couldn't even hear what was going on. He just knew that it was bad. He just knew that if he made a sound, the monsters would find them. Forcing himself to keep quiet, Tweak found tears leaking from his eyes, dripping down his face and dampening the hand Craig had over the ear Tweak had been pressing to the pillow. They felt damp and hot, horribly scratchy and disgusting, but Tweak couldn't stop them. He was too afraid to do any such thing. He thought he could feel the floor shaking. Suddenly, Craig's eyes got, if possible, even wider. Pulling Tweak as close as possible, Craig pressed the blonde's damp face against his shirt. For a moment, one of Craig's hands pulled off of Tweak's ears, and the boy could hear thudding footsteps coming up the stairs. Yanking the covers over Tweak's head, Craig whispered in Tweak's ear before covering it again with his hand. Held close like he was, Tweak could feel Craig trembling. All at once, there was a flare of light that came through the small gap in the covers. Tweak stared Tweak's ears more firmly together, like he was trying to crack Tweak's head in half. There were muffled roars, and Tweak hid the sob that worked its way from him in Craig's shirt. Closed, plunging the room back into darkness. There was a crashing, but the house fell silent. Tweak didn't dare budge. He just cried silently into Craig's shirt and twitched and shook until he managed to get his breathing under control. After a while of lying there in fearful silence, Tweak realized that Craig had simply frozen. Though he was still terrified the monsters would come back, Tweak squirmed upwards and stared at Craig. The boy's eyes were fixed at a point above Tweak's head, and his mouth was hanging open, a horrified expression on his face. Panicking, wondered if...
Oh no. Sorry, the connection's now getting crappy all of a sudden. How irritating. Here it's
just
my
had frozen.
Yeah, it just decided to freeze. Like, it got to, like, whimpering softly, and then your voice cut out. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, I wonder if it's me. Probably is me.
I think it might be. That said, though, the internet here can also get a little bit wonky, but...
Well, we've been having...
Want me to go any further, or...?
That was really good. I like that. I really like how you're reading it. That is amazing. Now... Do you want to try Craig's narration as well, just so I can... I mean, would you do that any differently? Would you do it pretty much the same?
I would be doing it differently, for sure.
Well, I guess it kind of depends on the character. I mean, I suppose Craig is definitely a lot more...
Even keel.
Yes. Thank you. I've been looking for that word literally all day. Thank you. I needed that. I've been trying to explain Craig's voice in like several different emails and just not finding any words. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm going to go ahead and just dive right into that then. I will be honest, the nervous energy is sort of starting to calm down a little bit, but if I start to go a little bit too fast, don't be surprised if I back myself up to slow down, because, like, yeah.
You know? With whatever works. I'm hoping that by the time we actually get around to reading like this for officially, everybody's nervous energy will have already been worked out and we'll all be comfortable around each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All
But
right.
I might be wrong, but we'll do our best. Or maybe we'll just all like try to get the person who's playing Tweak to go crazy so they read it as crazily as possible because they're
We'll just get them
terrified.
as stressed out as humanly possible, and then go.
That would be really funny, though I might end up with like lines that I did not write, but that'd be great.
All right. So it
So we're
was
gonna go.
possibly the most confident and predictable. At least Craig Tucker was convinced it was. Heck, the rest of the class didn't even bother to look up from their paper as a soft moan of terror filled the room. Call it callous, but it was just kind of expected at this point. Bored with his handout on the Mongols, Craig's eyes wandered to the source of the distressed sounds. They often did. He wasn't very good at pretending he didn't stare at the curious phenomenon that was the town spaz. Though to be fair, Mr. Garrison wasn't exactly the most riveting of fourth grade teachers in the world. Who could blame him for trying to find something to keep himself occupied?
Oh Jesus!
Whimpered the object of Craig's attention, reaching spindly fingers into his wild mane of blonde hair that stuck up in every direction. The boy tugged hard and twitched violently, rattling his desk.
They want to harvest my brain!
Another hard pull on blonde locks, almost like he was trying to rip them out of his head. The rest of the class kept ignoring the twitchy boy, but Craig just tapped his pencil lightly on the side of the desk and wondered, as he often did, if the boy was going to finally just explode. Spontaneously combust, even. Token had told him that things like that didn't happen all that often, and when they did, it was usually because of too much alcohol in the blood. But who knew? Maybe caffeine was flammable as well. He found that the boy was already staring at him, still shivering and twitching, watching him with big eyes. Not bothering to react, Craig just stared right back, his gaze cool. The spaz had perpetually wide eyes, with large dark circles under them. He probably didn't sleep. Craig couldn't imagine how someone who drank that much coffee would have a normal sleep schedule. He always did one of two things with those big eyes: stare or constantly dart them around like he was afraid of something. Right now they were focused, but for the intermittent twitchy blink. But what Craig always couldn't help but notice were the color of those lamp-like eyes. Bright green, just like the improperly buttoned shirts he always wore. They were full of life, those eyes. Craig wasn't one to wax poetic, but he couldn't help it when those eyes met his own. In the end, they were even more captivating than the rest of the blonde. Shrieking suddenly, as if something had startled him, the boy jerked around so he was no longer looking at Craig. As the bell finally rung, Craig waited in his seat so he could watch the boy hastily and with much panic shove everything into his bag before scurrying away, still carrying that damn thermos. It was only after he'd left that Craig finally bothered to get to his feet and put his own things away. Thus concluded another morning spent staring at Tweak.
And of course, the last line is technically one of his thoughts, but I loved that. That's so funny. Another funny tangent. Somebody actually did a translation of the story into Chinese.
Oh man.
So, I'm looking over it, looking at all the pretty pictures of Chinese characters, going, I can't read any of it. But of course, I remember that Craig's, whenever he only says one word, it's usually only ever one of two words, and that's either tweak or fuck. And so now I know how to say fuck in Chinese characters.
Nice.
Priorities, man. Actually, yeah, no, one of the best thing, if you're ever looking for a laugh, if you put the first chapter of that into Google Translate and translate it back, it's the funniest thing ever. It's
I love
like
doing that, taking something that's been translated and then sending it back through Google Translate and then sending it back. If you send it back like 3 times, it's hysterical.
I know, you get the weirdest stuff ever. Oh my gosh, I put some weird stuff into Google Translate to use in stories because a couple of my characters in other fandoms, that's one of my headcanons is they speak in a lot of different languages. So, occasionally I'll have something in there. But then I'll have somebody who speaks the language go, you do realize that said X, Y, and Z, and I'll go, oh no, I said that? That's just embarrassing. But my favorite line from this was Mr. Garrison's original line. He yells, "Craig, did you just flip me off?" But the translation is, "Craig, did you just index me to my middle finger?" It's just, yes.
That's excellent. Oh my god.
It was so wonderful, and it was terrible because I was in the middle of like class when I was reading this, and I just couldn't. I just started laughing, and it was bad, and it was so funny.
that is super excellent. Also so literal.
I know, right? It's perfect. A lot of these like translations. I don't know if they put out a second chapter, but I'm looking forward to it because, to be honest, I love it. It's so wonderful to read. And also, I'm just very flattered that they would actually bother to do something like that.
So, do you want to hear more for Craig, or
Actually, yes, I do.
okay.
Do you want to read? Do you want to read this part where he's?
Upset?
Do you want to read the part where he's upset, or do you want to read the part where he's talking to Bebe about Tweek's monsters? It's like a really short part, but whichever one you want to do first, or whichever one you want to do. I don't know.
Here, I'll do them both. That's fine.
Okay, wonderful.
I'm pretty good at reading for long stretches of time. In terms of reading coherently, also usually a lot better at that than I am right now. I think it's just because this is the first time I'm meeting you, and that makes me a little nervous. I have social anxiety even through the computer.
You shouldn't. I promise you that I am more socially anxious. Don't. I mean, I will probably never put this particular stream on YouTube specifically because the first 20 minutes before you showed up, I was literally nervously rambling about anything that I could think of, and it got really weird, and I don't know.
It's cool. We were both at that level. It's fine.
Thank goodness I'm not the only one.
Oh yeah, exactly. All right, so
yeah,
heading towards his own room.
You want to go ahead? I cannot read Craig, but if you want to skip over his thoughts, or if you just want to read them yourself,
okay,
just like
we'll see.
Whatever you want.
Which ones I'm.
I guess I can read them.
I was gonna say, can you still hear me? I'm getting some weird lag time, but
yeah, I'm getting that too, like a little bit. It might be because of me, though. I think it's probably because my crappy internet.
all good. As long as you can hear me, that's all that really counts. Just here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So, heading towards his own room, Craig tripped through the entranceway and only just managed to close the door before he fell to the floor, his legs simply giving out on him. As he started to shake, the terror and pain finally overwhelming his mind, Craig curled up into a fetal position, unable to do much more.
Why? Why does this always happen? Why do I have to be such a fucking piece of shit? Why can't I be good enough?
Letting out a muffled sound of pain as he rolled onto one of his bruises, Craig sucked in his bottom lip as his stomach threatened to empty itself over the holy shit! Zephyr! Hey.
Wait. Oh, I want to meet the kitty. I want to meet the kitty.
You can marry a little turd.
Thanks.
Hold on. What? Oh my god. What did you do? Why are you so wet?
Oh no!
I choose to deal with this later.
Isn't that a wonderful thing when your pet comes over? You're just like, why do you have some unknown liquid all over you? What did you do?
Yeah, I'm hoping that he just maybe it's the other cat drooled on him or something. I doubt it. It's all over his face.
Oh no. Maybe he face planted his water dish or something.
He may have. He got a little crazy. He was feral, and so he'll occasionally just go off for no reason.
Oh man. No, you see, we used to have a cat, and our cat, when she was a little kitten, we had a Rottweiler. The Rottweiler's, many, many times bigger than this little tiny Maine Coon kitty who's fits in the palm of your hand. And our dog, she just wanted to be friends with our cat, so she'd lick the cat, and
Oh
she'd
no.
end up pretty much just like
Yep.
completely closing her mouth around the cat's head because she's just trying to lick the cat, but the cat was so much smaller than she was.
Like
So
wet and tired.
I know the kitty would go and sit on the heater, and this poof ball of fluff as she slowly dried off.
Oh
It
my
was just,
goodness.
I know.
Horrible.
uh, animals
Okay,
are
I'm gonna
animals
try
are
that
so
over
cute.
entirely just because I did not get very
Okay,
far at all before surprise cat bomb all over me.
surprise cat bomb. Anyway, I because I just am so shit at reading Craig's lines because I'm so not an emotionless, I don't know,
Yeah.
stoic pebble. I'm just gonna skip that, and you could just read like what isn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
I think
skip
that'll
over
work.
that. Give it a pause.
Yeah, it probably will make pretty much same amount of sense as it would anyway, because my writing is
Yeah.
sometimes makes sense.
Don't cut yourself short. All right. So, heading towards his own room, Craig tripped through the entranceway and only just managed to close the door before he fell to the floor, his legs simply giving out on him. As he started to shake, the terror and pain finally overwhelming his mind, Craig curled up into a fetal position, unable to do much more. Letting out a muffled sound of pain as he rolled onto one of his bruises, Craig sucked in. Ah, ha! Caught an error there.
I
Craig
have
sucked,
those. Yes, I have those. It's funny
Craig
because you
sucked in his bottom lip as his stomach threatened to empty itself over his carpet. He should have thought of this. He should have gone to Token's house instead. Shaking harder, Craig squeezed his eyes shut and wished it didn't hurt so much. It used to be this didn't affect him. He just shook until he fell asleep. Now all he felt was terror at the realization of what had just happened. Now all he felt was terror as the realization of what had just happened sunk in. Rolling over, Craig attempted to even out his breathing as he stared at the stars on his ceiling, but he couldn't. He felt like he was going to cry, but he couldn't let his father have that sort of satisfaction. Because he deserved it. Because he'd left detention and because he'd gotten a detention in the first place. Thinking of the blonde made Craig's throat close up. He'd been so fucking happy just sitting in that tree with the boy, and now everything had gone to shit. Lifting his aching arms to his face, Craig pressed on his eyes and gritted his teeth in an attempt to hold the tears at bay. He didn't deserve that kind of happiness. Oh my gosh. He didn't deserve that kind of happiness. Not when he was such a dark person. Not when he brought pain and suffering with him wherever he went. And yet he craved it. Wished he had Tweak here so he could hold on tight to the one real thing he had. Wow, I am like
don't worry
not
about it.
nailing that one.
It's okay.
Okay. Breath coming in short, pained gasps. Craig felt the warm wetness of tears finally spill out over his cheeks. The moment the horrible, salty clamminess pushed past his palms, Craig's arms fell limp and he let them collapse to his sides. On his ceiling, the stars grew blurry as the pain manifested itself on his face. He was acting like a fucking weakling. He couldn't stop himself. Gone were the days when he could face something like this emotionlessly. Now, everything was so much more vivid and painful. As silent sobs started to choke him, closing up his throat and leaving him unable to breathe, Craig wrapped his arms around his chest and struggled to keep quiet. Though really, there was no risk of him making noise. No, Craig knew how to cry silently, despite the fact he hadn't done so since he was 6. As his face grew blotchy with tears and his head started to pound, Craig rolled over and curled up once more, letting his carpet soak up his tears. All he wanted was to be anywhere but here. All he wanted was someone to tell him that it was going to be okay. But he knew that it would only ever be a lie because this would never be okay, and he was pretty sure it would never end either. Wrapping his arms around his chest, hiccuping as his sobs turned to nothing but dry gasps, Craig clenched his teeth hard enough to make them hurt and struggled to pull himself back together. His mind told him. That's what he always did. Get over what happened, push it to the back of his head, and forget it. Except he hadn't been beaten that bad in a long time, and he wouldn't have been able to go to sleep at that moment if he'd tried. Not here, not with his parents downstairs, liable to come up at any moment and scream at him some more. His mother especially loved to do that, drag it out for as long as she could until he was well and truly whipped. Staring with blurry eyes at the little stars that Tweak and he had glued to his ceiling together, Craig found himself pushing himself to his feet. No, he wasn't going to be able to sleep here, but there was somewhere where he might be able to sleep. Totally was stumbling over that one, which makes me sad because I read over it ahead of time too. But like I said, long day, not really doing my best. But
Okay, listening to the parts you stumble over really helps me see where the kind of not so good parts of it is. It's if it flows naturally when you're saying it, then it flows naturally when you're reading it. But yeah, they always say to listen to your stuff read out loud. I guess this is what I'm getting here.
It's probably about 50-50 that, and then me just being all mush mouth right now. But
that's okay. Honestly, this is one of the biggest attempts at getting over my fear of other people reading my stuff. Because it's one thing to post something online and not actually seeing them read it. But it's another thing to talk to people who've read it. It's like, oh no,
yeah.
they read all of the terrible things I've done or written. I suppose haven't actually done most of them. Oh, you vanished. That's sad. Don't come back. Oh bother. Technical difficulties again. How fun. I shall. Oh yeah, this is just kind of radio silence. I completely forgot about that. That's awkward. There was just like 3 minutes there where I said nothing. Man. Oh wow. So yeah, this is going really well. I really like this. I like her voice. I think I really like her Craig narration. Now, she can't hear me right now, so shh. It's gonna be socially awkward now. But I really like the way she reads it. I was thinking she was almost a little bit too calm to retweet, but Craig one is really well done. She can just tiny bit of more emotion, especially in those really dramatic parts. Man, yes, I would totally yes. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna invite her back into the stream because she's gone now. Oh, that's an emoji. That's not what I wanted to copy and paste in there. Okay. Yeah, you're hearing all the technical, lovely mumbo jumbo that you miss out on those professional streams where people know what they're doing. Although, let's be honest, if you're here, then you're willing to put up with some unprofessional bullshit. To put it lightly. It'd be interesting if I could hear the voice for Stan, actually. Of all people. I know it seems really random, but I feel like because she's older and Miranda's older, they might be able to do some really excellent. Oh my goodness, your profile picture was a surprise.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that was me from Halloween like last year, I think.
Oh man. And everybody thought I was edgy for dressing up as Harley Quinn.
I actually have a friend whose name is well, we call her Harley because she is like obsessed with Harley Quinn. Like it's hilarious.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, I went through a phase that was it was more me just like figuring out that you could experiment with stage makeup. And but everybody
Maybe.
calls it my Harley Quinn phase because I did for about I would say 2 months probably. I dressed up pretty I did her makeup every day.
Nice.
Full makeup. I had different variations for costume every day. I had everything, and it was slowly built. Like I started with just a few pieces and I got more and more as it got closer to Halloween. And by the time Halloween rolled around, I was like, everybody was just like, yeah, you're pretty much Harley Quinn now.
That's
People
great.
in like the seventh grade knew me because I was that one girl who dressed up as Harley Quinn for like a month. And I was like, oh, great. That's my legacy.
That's
Ugh.
still pretty great. Except for she dresses up as like she wears like exclusively red and black and she has a patch vest that's got like the diamonds on it and like she's kind of known for it in the local music community around here. So yeah.
That's pretty, if you're going to be known
She's
for
been doing that
something,
for like 5+ years, I think.
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That
There's a reason
I
she's called
mean,
Harley.
that's pretty awesome. I've only ever met a few people who really have taken on a persona that like okay, I don't know if
I mean, she also
you're
has
probably
totally made it her own too. Like she's this like crazy, like bodacious big black chick. For a long time, she had this like bright red afro that she would like pin up. Now she's got this like black and red like dreadlocks and like it's
that's
pretty great.
awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, but I was just I've only ever met a few people who really had like they were the character already and they just kind of took the character on and made it
Yep.
even better. I don't know if you've probably heard of Yuri on Ice because like everybody
Yeah.
who's part of any fandom at this point has heard about it because they were trumpeting it everywhere. But yeah, he was. I mean, he's just like his name is Victor. Of course, it was spelled with a C instead of a K. Minor detail. From Canada, ice skated for years. Was really good at it. Um, you know, and really, really gay. And it was so funny because he was just like, I didn't want to watch it until my grandmother was like, hey, you should watch this. I know, I know of all the people suggest
Wow.
a gay skating anime to you. Your grandmother is not one I would, your grandmothers are not usually the people you expect, but
Yeah.
he was just like, yeah, ever since then I've been spelling my name with a K, and I now have a trench coat. And
That's
like
great.
his haircut, because he had like like a normal kind of haircut, but he got it trimmed just like that, like short, like right about the eye level, and it was so adorable because just this little 14-year-old who looks like Victor and acts like him, and I was like, oh my gosh.
So, I did theater makeup and costume design for half a decade.
Wow, that's impressive.
It was like all through high school and then a little bit into college. But and then that and cosplay, like I respect.
Yeah, I have my little pieces of cosplay. I have my various Harley Quinn stuff. I have a handmade coat that was for a character from Durarara, Izaya Orihara. You know, so I've got. Okay, goodbye, sister. You can take the dog, but you have to bring her back.
There's a dog?
Yes, there is a dog. I know. She's adorable. She's got a curly tail and everything.
Oh.
Go. Ellie, don't tell me to suck dicks. I don't want
Did you
to.
say Ellie?
Yeah, that's my sister's name.
That's my little sister's name.
Oh my gosh. We both have little sisters who are named Ellie, although I bet mine, I don't know. I don't know. My sister's not as annoying as she used to be. Now she's just dangerous.
My sister, that would be very fitting for both statements. Let's just leave it there.
Annoying and dangerous. My sister's like has continued to annoy me, but the fact of the matter is that she's at least half a foot taller than me at this point and could kick my head off of my shoulders.
Luckily, my sister will always be shorter than me, which is really satisfying.
Oh man, I wish I was dangerous, but I'm gonna be honest here, I'm not.
I'm pretty much like the least dangerous, well, second least dangerous of all of my friends.
No, I am definitely well, I'm probably the least dangerous because I'm one of the smallest, and I don't have a bunch of people who are willing to. Don't call me a bitch. That's great, Ellie.
Keep talking about me. I'm obviously the best subject for your audiobook.
Her words. Keep talking about me. I'm clearly the best subject. Screw your audiobook. She's very humble too.
Oh yeah.
uh,
And seriously,
okay, Ellie, go away.
all right.
Yeah.
Oh, she's really good at voicing.
My Elizabeth, my dog is not going to voice Kenny. The dog is not going to voice Kenny.
Put her on some steroids or crack and boom, you're ready to go.
Elizabeth, it's not how these things work. Go away. Sorry about that. She's being weird.
Wait.
Totally fine. We might start hearing some cat noises in the background because Zephyr has discovered a moth, and I do not care to go and find it and deal with it. So you'll probably hear him chittering in the background. So maybe not. The mic has been kind of helping with some of that, I think.
Well, you know, if your cats ever come on stream, they can be here too. Maybe they can audition as well. I don't know if there's
maybe they can be a streak.
Yes, they could be striped. That would be amazing. Just like random noises recorded from various streams of your cats that we insert as stripe. That'd be funny.
All right, well, let me go ahead and I'll jump on to the next bit then, because I want to make sure I get Bebe done too, and I think we're edging towards time.
10:30, and that's when I need to get writing.
Yeah. It's probably when I should probably start getting ready too, because like makeup and such.
Yes. Well, you know, you look like somebody who puts way more time into their appearance than I ever would, which is awesome. Because I mean, I don't know. You look
this is pretty lazy, to be completely honest.
way better than what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the same shirt I wore yesterday. Haven't taken it off at all. You know,
that's usually my life. I don't think I've washed these pants in like weeks.
I don't even know how to use a washing machine, to be perfectly honest. My mom is still doing my laundry, which is kind of embarrassing considering how old I've gotten. But you know what? I will take advantage of that for as long as possible.
Right? Respect. All right, so thoughtful, I think was next.
Yes, right? That was just the one where he's
okay. Yeah.
He's talking about his monsters. Yeah, do you want me to start with Bebe's line?
Sure.
He talks to you about them. Or that's wrong inflection. He talks to you about them?
Glancing over at the still sleeping Tweak, Craig remembered the long rants the boy went on, each having carved a new path in his mind. The boy's words had a habit of doing that, sticking there and becoming yet another tie the Noirette had to Tweak. Maybe he wished that the blonde wasn't haunted by the terrifying horrors that he'd chosen to plaster his walls with, but at the same time he accepted that they were there to stay. All he had to do was learn how to live with them, much like Tweak did. I was going to say, is that something that...
I'm going to have the text messages be read by...
Okay.
Probably, yeah, except for, like, unless it's somebody else's, but if you're just narrating, then you can go ahead and read Craig's
Okay.
text messages.
I just ask him to tell me what he sees, and he talks about them for hours. Clutching his phone a little tighter, Craig was struck by a savage wish to just be able to catch a glimpse of what terrorized Tweak, if only so he'd be able to better comfort the blonde. He knew that he couldn't do anything, but he wished that his promise of protection could fully extend to the horrors that lurked in Tweak's mind. No matter how much he ruffled the boy's hair in that weird way he'd sort of adopted, or told him that things were fine, the monsters would still come back.
Do you protect him from the monsters?
Staring down at Bebe's entirely innocuous question, Craig clenched his jaw before answering. I try.
Do you do a good job of it?
As the clawing in his stomach turned to a sinking feeling, Craig typed back his reply. I don't think so.
He's sleeping, isn't he?
All humans sleep.
You know what? I mean, again, I mean, especially for Craig's narration, I can't make any Snapchat calls, but I really like how you're doing it. I really like it. And I did have somebody audition for Craig on Tuesday. It was actually the only guy, I think, that we have in this entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's so funny. I was expecting, another girl. It was like everybody else had been girls,
Yeah.
And I just, it's just like all the girls are doing, hi, really high voices. And then I just hear like a really deep male voice going, hello. And I'm like, oh no, what have we done?
That's excellent.
I know, especially because most of that stream was taken up by awkward laughter, and we'd have like the slow progression of who would laugh, and then at the very end of the awkward laughter, we'd always get that like chuckle from him that was really deep, and it was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Which would only make us laugh harder. It should not help at all.
Alright, so I think I'm gonna try Bebe next. Which we'll see. I am a little bit nervous to go into actual character voices now, because like
you've gotten a new narration kind
of
thing.
Yeah, but and now I'm almost afraid that I'm gonna end up coming off too much like narration now, but we'll see. Hopefully not.
And if you want to, and you can read these over as many times as you need to like. We have 30 more minutes. If you want to spend the next 30 minutes doing Bebe's voice and trying to get something you like, that's totally fine.
Cool.
I am here to listen and cringe inwardly at my own writing.
All right, sounds good.
Well, while cheering you on because you're awesome at reading.
Thank you.
No, seriously, I really like your reading voice. It's very nice to listen to.
Thank you. So, what do you think about Craig Tweak? You're such good friends with him. So, what do you think about how he looks? Do you think he's cute?
Jesus Christ, no!
Then what do you think he is? I mean, I just thought you might know him best. So, what do you like about him? What is he?
I don't know. He's perfect. I mean, he's not always perfect, but on the outside, he looks perfect. And on the inside, he's really wonderful. And I don't know if anyone else thinks so, but I do.
I probably wouldn't agree with you on that, but I think you know better since you see more clearly than most people. You always see through people, Tweak. I think that's why Craig hangs out with you, among other things. What else do you think about Craig? Come on, he's your friend, so what about him stands out to you?
Lots of stuff stands out. Jeez, that's a big question. I mean, there's so much about him. He does my war paint.
I figured he did. He's really nice when he wants to be.
Yeah, he's really nice. Not to everyone. But he's wonderful to his guinea pigs. Jesus, you don't think Craig actually thinks of me as a guinea pig, do you?
No, I think you're like a star to him. Because you're so full of life and fire and life, and you shine so brightly to him.
I wrote life twice. That was supposed to be light. Sorry.
Because here, I'll just start over. No, I think you're like a star to him. Because you're so full of life and fire and light, and you shine brightly to him. How does he treat you, do you think?
I don't know. He always stands up to people who are hurting me. Like when Cartman was being horrible. He hurt him. And Jesus, I didn't like that. But I sort of did too. Does that make me a bad person?
That doesn't make you bad. It's normal to want to see people who hurt you get what they deserve. Do you think he does a good job at protecting you?
Yes! Did you know he got me a shirt that makes the aliens leave me alone? And the monsters leave me alone when he's around. I mean, they're still there, but if they came out, he'd fight them. But I think they're scared of him.
Are you scared of him?
Never! Craig would never hurt me.
I know. He cares about you. And I think that you care about him too. Right now, he needs that. This whole thing is really confusing, and he needs his friends, you especially.
Okay.
Good. Now shoot, I need to finish getting ready. I'll see you later, okay?
I like it. I like your voice for her is very good. I've only heard one other person do her voice, and I have to say, hers was definitely a little bit more. I don't know if annoying is the right word. I don't want to be mean to anybody, especially because I don't know, because I'm really like honored that people would like try at all for this kind of stuff. But it definitely your voice is just very soothing in general, so I like it. I hope that doesn't make me biased or anything.
All right, well then this uptake here is going to be interesting, I think. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get to have her yelling at Craig and telling him to get a grip. One of my favorite tags that I've ever seen on a picture, like that people have sent in, was "Get a fucking grip, Craigery." I don't know.
Yes.
I loved it. I don't even know why, because I was just this random thing, and I had just seen a comic earlier that like had called Craig Craigery as a joke, and I lost my shit. It was awful, but I loved it.
It's definitely that's great.
Yeah, that's this entire chapter in a nutshell, though. Let me be honest. This chapter was originally. I remember when I was writing this, it was originally supposed to go like way different directions. It was supposed to be quick, just quickly show Craig's inner angst, and then they were going to go off to Bebe's house, and they were going to talk more about Tweak. And I don't know. I was thinking Bebe might admit that she has a crush on Clyde, like for real. But it never went anywhere. It just kind of died.
Because it was important, though.
It was important. It ended up in a beautiful picture of Bebe slapping Craig, and who doesn't need to see that?
Yep.
But yeah, oftentimes by writing, I have a lot of chapters like that were supposed to go somewhere plot-wise, but ended up just being like character development chapters.
Those are always important, though. I mean, it feels like we really get a better idea of, I guess, not even just who the people are, but sort of like you get kind of a deeper insight into their motivations, I think. The more time you get to spend with a character that's not inside, like how we see the narration.
Yeah. I think that's a fair point. I always do like those kind of roundabout methods of dialogue. I always get annoyed when I'm reading a story and the dialogue is stilted because they're trying to push it towards a certain thing.
Exactly.
I know, and it's annoying because it's I don't know. It's just it feels awkward and forced. But
yes,
I have the opposite problem where I do the thing I do in real life, where I just go on random tangents and I struggle to bring my characters back around to the original topic. By the time I've gotten to the original topic, it's the end of the 3,500 words that I'm supposed to be writing, and I'm like, oh, dang it! I'll have to try again tomorrow.
Hey, and that's how it stretches out, so you're not going to get any complaints from us.
I'm really glad. I hope that I'm not. I have been noticing that people are commenting less, and I think it's because I'm slowly wearing them down.
No. Well, those of us that are still around, trust me, we're still in here for the long haul.
Yay, that makes me really happy. It does. That's one of the reasons I set up this Discord, was hopefully so I could get people just chatting about random stuff.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I'm putting in the link to it. I finally learned how to do link text. It's very nice. Somebody down back in chapter 25 was like, "Hey, for the fan art, you should do this," and I tried and I failed. So I've learned how to do it now, and
excellent.
Yeah, it's turning out very nice. Means that I can have links and they'll be pretty and you can click on them and they'll do stuff. Oh man.
Exciting.
I know, I'm such a child at heart. So, if you want to read this part.
Yeah, all right. So, get a fucking grip. If you think for even a second that this is something that's going to make Tweak feel any better, then you know absolutely nothing. You do not own him, and you do not get to decide who he can and can't run to for help when you've decided to go and screw something up.
I don't even know what I did. I'm not.
I don't care if you don't know what you did wrong. I don't care if you think I don't care what you think you are or aren't doing. Tweak has every right to feel upset, and if he wants to deal with it by going to Clyde, then you will stop acting like a jealous asshole and get over it. Now, are you going to keep acting like a 6-year-old who has to share his toys, or are you going to pull yourself together? I know you want to help Tweak. I really do. I want to know what's wrong as well, but currently you have to placate Cartman before he throws you out. And you have to play the part they've given you, otherwise you'll destroy all the work we've already done. All the work we've done already. If you go after Tweak now, not only will you hurt him more, but all of the people here that you're trying to keep him safe from will make his life hard too. Do you want that?
No. No, I don't want that.
You do know Tweak isn't going to abandon you for someone else, right?
Fuck, I know that.
I know that you feel very strongly about Tweak. You want to protect him, and you're upset, probably because no one else has protected him for years.
I'm upset that I've watched him get put through hell for years and I never even thought twice about it. I never hurt him, but I never stopped anyone either. Wish I'd stood up for him sooner. I had to fucking beat him up to see that I wanted to protect him.
Sometimes it takes making a mistake to learn that there was a right way to go to begin with. But you figured it out, didn't you?
I can't just punch him and make things better. I don't want to punch him and pretend that makes things better. At least then we were both angry. Now, what's wrong with me?
You're upset because the person that you care about doesn't need you as much as you need them. You're upset because Tweak turned to Clyde instead of you.
You're right. I'm a selfish asshole. Dang it. Yeah. Sorry. I cannot read people's lines. Continue.
Craig, you do know that most normal people feel like you do at some point in their life. Upset because someone who meant something to them pushed them away. You're allowed to feel angry. You're allowed to be sad. Heck, it'd be weird if you didn't, but it's one thing to be upset about it, and it's another to act stupid because of it.
I know he's allowed to have other friends, okay? I know that he's not going to forget me or some shit. I know that I was the one who made him upset, but it still pisses me off. What did I do to him?
Honestly, I don't know, Craig. I think that there's a lot going on for him right now, and sometimes when emotions start running high, things are bound to break eventually.
Doesn't like me dating you. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. I didn't think he'd give a shit about this whole thing between us, but I can tell it makes him upset, even though he tries to blow it off. I don't get why, though. It's not like I'm gonna forget him. He's Tweak.
I bet you know how he feels now.
Fucking sucks.
It does, especially when you can't do anything about it. He's probably not even upset with you. You just can't tell the difference between you and the situation we're all in.
Fuck everyone here. Fuck what they think we should and shouldn't do. You should have dated Clyde, and they should have just left me out of it.
You're probably right. But maybe this is one of those times where we have to make a mistake before we find the solution. Maybe we're going to have to wait for those emotions to explode before we can find out what the right thing to do is.
I still want to go after him.
I know you do, but this time you have to wait till he comes to you. Look, come and play nice with Cartman, and then when we're done, we can leave. I'm pretty sure I can make something up to get us out of here. Then we can text him, and if he wants to talk to you, then you can go and find him, all right?
Fine.
Good. Now come on, let's go make the Grand Wizard calm down.
I really like your voice for Bebe. It's amazing. I really like it. I know I have like somebody else auditioning for her sometime in this next few days, but that's really good. I really like it. You have such a good voice for both the narration for Craig and for Bebe. Why you make me choose these things?
Well, now I'm gonna bring out my tweaks soon, so
Ooh, that'll be fun. I can't wait to hear it because you've been pretty calm for this whole thing. You know, hi puppy. Hi puppy. You kind of
drinking my energy drink now.
yes. Got to make sure you're properly paranoid. Although, you know, it's not
properly caffeinated.
Yeah, it's not paranoia if you know they're out to get you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The way you said that was so perfect. Like, you just really quickly agreed with it, like you thought the same thing yourself.
Not saying that I haven't.
Honestly, me, oftentimes, especially with some of the weird medications I've tried, I've just gotten like really paranoid. I'll be sitting the community college I go to part-time, and I'll just be like sitting there in the chair, like twitching almost, just like I can feel people staring at me. And I'll get really like weird. I'll be like, no, I have to write. If I write, then I'll calm down. It doesn't work, but at least I can share my insanity with the internet. Yay!
Yay!
Trying to be productive or something. I don't know.
All right, so in an effort of not trying to do any crazy voices for this, I'm just going to try to match the energy, and if you like it, then you like it, and awesome, and if not, it's no skin off of my nose, so.
Awesome. I'm looking at you. I love it. I love to hear it.
Just reading through really quick.
Oh, I was thinking I was gonna have to shock you into starting and maybe make you scream or something. That'd be funny. Great way to start off anything. Just tweak yelling about something.
Oh Jesus! What if he was kidnapped by aliens and now this is just a clone of an? Oh Jesus! What if he was kidnapped by aliens and now this is just a clone of in his place? Oh God! What if it's one of them? Ah! No! They're coming for me! Shit! Now they know I know what they are. Why aren't they attacking me? I bet he's their leader. They're waiting for his signal. What does he want from me? What does that clone want from me? Oh God, they're going to replace me too, but they need my brain so they can the clone can act like me. Oh Jesus, they would want to harvest my brain.
I love it. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. I love that. That was so good. Especially like just that how quickly you transition from one part to the next. That was amazing. Talk about a complete 180 from the last things you were reading. Well, now, if you want to try some of his other emotions, anyone you want. I mean, they're kind of. I mean, I really don't want.
I'm just gonna start and just keep going down. And if you get sick of me at some point, let me know.
No, you still have technically another 15 minutes that you have to put up with me, or
all right.
You know, I get to put up with you.
Okay.
I've earned the privilege.
So, I can't believe you did that.
Do what?
How is it not obvious? I can't believe you just throw yourself into danger like that. No, you won't. Don't you get it? They weren't tossed into a fight I couldn't win. I would have done fine.
I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to let them do that to you.
Stan is going to kill you. He's a ranger and he's way stronger and I could have done fine. And why are you doing this? What is this supposed to be? I can't handle this. It's too much pressure.
I'm going to be fine. Why are you so upset? Dude, there's no reason for you to be stressed. If I lose, I lose. At least it's not you.
Stop saying things like that. You don't get it at all. You can't win. I can.
Do I look like I care? Did you cut out? Did I do something wrong? You froze. Oh no! No! Stupid stream. I hate audio issues. They suck. I don't even know if you can hear me. Now I feel awkward. Suddenly I feel awkward. Wonderful. Until such time as your stuff starts working, I'm just gonna say that you're freaking good at that, man. You're really good at Tweak's voice. You're good at all the other voices you've tried, and I love it. I love it. It's very unfortunate that I cannot do voices. I wish I could match your brilliance. Instead, I can only be a mere paltry shadow in your wake. But once the stream starts working, we can maybe finish that. Be great. Maybe you'll have to drop out again and jump back in. Because you froze on like the best expression ever. Oh man, I love it. Gosh darn it. Oh no. I don't even know if you can hear me. I probably sound entirely insane. If you can. Uh we'll figure it out in a moment once you manage to. Yeah, I'll be good. Tell me. What? Wait, you're
You still
back?
there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Were you
Okay.
able to hear me that entire time? I hope not.
No,
I
not
sound
at all.
insane.
I totally got lost too. Don't worry.
Thank goodness, because I was just babbling to myself. I do that every time.
Well, I was babbling to myself as well, so it's good to know that there was some mutual babble going on there.
Excellent, excellent. Of course,
Where did you? What was the last thing you could hear?
I see. Do I look like I care? I didn't get to hear the no, and I was like waiting for it because I love this scene. I was just like, and it never came, and I was very disappointed.
Okay. All right.
So,
All right.
wherever you want to start. If you want to go back a couple lines, you can get back into the
All right. So I'm
emotion.
going to start with the stop saying things like that.
Okay.
Oh, stop saying things like that. You don't get it at all. You can't win. I can.
Do I look like I care?
No, you don't care. You're just being stupid. Why isn't it different from fighting in a battle? I did fine there.
That's different. This is entertainment for those fuckers. I'm not letting you be entertainment.
What if I want to be entertainment? What if I don't?
Oh no. Not again. No! Do I have to send another message to Google Hangouts? How terrible. But, geez, I really like your tweak voice. I really like your tweak voice. Oh, man. I better not end up having. I better have some really good auditions for some of these other parts because otherwise, I'd be so disappointed. Because, like, uh, you do such good voices for a lot of these things. I love your baby. Like, you hit the exact emotions I was looking for in hers, which was amazing. And you hit the exact, like, you have, like, that perfect voice for Craig's narration. And then your amazing freaking tweak, which is a really hard character to do, might I add. And you are nailing it perfectly. I'm almost a little bit jealous because, like, I wish I could do that, man. I'm not good at that. You're back!
I swear, this thing is being a little brat. But I think I've got it working now. I think I've got it working now.
Excellent. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give it one more try here.
you can finish this one up, or you can, because it's like I think it's almost done. But do you want to go with the "What if I want to be entertainment" part?
Yes. I lost my place a little bit.
And if like the stutters don't fall in the right place to read naturally, put them wherever you want. Tweaks
Okay.
just like because
Just
you know
stutters.
I don't want it, he just stutters, so I'm just putting them in places so that kind of fit when I'm like trying to write this, you know. But if it fits in a certain place, even if like in the middle of the word, if you want to stutter the word, go for it. Go for it, man.
All right.
You're doing an amazing job. I don't want you to feel like you're limited by my way of writing.
All right, well, let's see how this goes. I'm going to start back a line a little bit, actually. Okay, so.
Okay, funny thing. Now there are two anonymous people. I know. We have a like. What do you have? What is the animal? What does it show up as?
What?
Oh, what does the anonymous animal show up as on yours? Or does it show up as actually a person?
I have no idea. What?
Oh, if you roll over the little icons up at the top of the script, does it show different people on there? Or do
Oh,
you
I'm
only
looking at it
see
on my
me?
phone, so I don't actually
Oh.
see
Okay, so it's
anything.
funny because Google has this habit of like when they don't have a username for the person, they'll give anonymous random animal. So you're an animal I can't even pronounce, but an anonymous anteater just appeared. So yeah, that's fun.
Fascinating.
Even though they cannot hear me, hello, anonymous person. You're probably going to be reading Tweet's lines sometime in the near future. Good luck.
Yeah, I
But
know. I'm on
yeah.
my phone. So, I mean, it might be me. I just can't tell.
It'd be funny if you were like it showed up as like your phone and your computer if you have that as two different people.
That would be really funny.
Yeah. But I just now have two random animals here. Which pretty amusing. So yeah. If you want to do that last line from that section, or if you want to jump right into the
Sure,
fearful.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'll do the last two here because I actually really liked the last line for a tweak on that one. So, all right, so I'm gonna start back at. Well, what if I want to be entertainment? What if I don't care either?
You're not doing it.
What if I don't want to see you get hurt again protecting me? What if that scares me, Craig?
The life of being an author.
All right.
Now, okay.
Right in here and just scared.
So I don't know if I'll be able to read the sixth graders' lines here. I'm just gonna be honest. But
That's fine.
Funny story. Mama T was reading them for the last time we had them in like the last stream. So he was reading Craig's lines, and she was doing sixth graders, and she gave it a New Yorker like mafia mob boss accent, just out of the blue, out of nowhere, just. Oh man, it was the best thing ever, and I'm trying to convince her to do that for the actual.
That would be so great.
Just random Brooklyn accent, right smack dab in the middle of all these like Midwestern accents.
I like it.
So yeah, if you want to do these lines, or if you don't, that's fine, because you don't really have anything to work off of, or you can go straight to him screaming at Stark's pond, which was a fun scene to write.
Now,
except for the tears.
Your voice, but it doesn't be.
Okay.
I'm just gonna continue because right now, for whatever reason, your mic is doing some real weird stuff, but I can tell you're still there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start talking.
Wonderful.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh God, what does he want from me? What's going on? Where's Craig? What? I have a boyfriend. Why is he hurting me? What did I ever do to him? I don't know what you're talking about. This is why I don't hang out on the playground. He's talking about Craig? Oh, Jesus. If I tell him, he'll kill Craig. I can't let him kill Craig. Then what would we do? No. won't tell you.
You do that so well, it's not fair. Ugh. I'd be so annoyed if I end up not getting really good auditions for these characters and you have the best for all of them, and I'm just gonna be like, oh no, now what do I do? In that case, I'll probably have you be Tweet because he's an important character, you know, because you do his lines really, really
And here I was
well.
thinking I wasn't gonna be able to do it. Whew.
I had a feeling
All right.
it should be good with like the narration because kind of just getting the general feel from your comments kind of felt like that'd be your speed. But now you're just doing like you're killing it on this tweet thing. It's not fair, but not actually killing. Jesus, human sacrifice is not a laughing matter. Anyway, random side note.
All right.
So yeah, if you want to read his upset, sad, depressing. Oh, poor baby.
All right. I messed up. I'm horrible. Hogan's house with the others. I shouldn't just be leaving. He hates me. He's going to wish I never existed. How am I supposed to compare against a girl he's dating? Why do I even want to compare? What? Did I think I'd really be more important to him than Bebe? Why would I even imagine something like that? It's so different than what Clyde was saying. It's not like Bebe is just another friend. She's his girlfriend. That automatically makes her more important. Why did I think I could beat that? Why did I try? I'm such an idiot. I hate you, Craig Tucker! I fucking hate you, and I wish you didn't exist! I wish you'd never started dating Bebe! I wish you'd just break up with her! God, I don't even care if you keep dating.
No, not now! Not now! Don't make the audio cut out now! It was so good! It just suddenly stopped working, and it's so good! Oh! You have me on the edge of my seat. You can't see it because I don't have a face cam on, but oh my gosh. I'm just here with my hands in my hair, just like, yes, yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Gosh, no, you're... Oh my gosh, no, like, if I didn't feel like, okay, no, this is honestly making me feel like, why did I, because I have so many people auditioning for this part, and I can't just cut it off now, but oh my gosh. It's going to be really amazing if I find somebody better than this, because you're doing his lines so well. It's like exactly what I'm hearing. You've got like all the vocal inflections, and I can hear like the pain, the tears in his voice, and it's so amazing. Oh.
Well, I just hit myself in the face so hard that my lip is bleeding. So
it's okay. It's a very stressful thing.
I think that I might be able to tweak a little bit more than like some people.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's like, wow. This is like the kind of reaction I had when I first heard the person who's going to be doing Kenny's voice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I just constantly fangirling because it's so good. It's so perfect, exactly what I wanted to hear. It's
I can keep going.
Yeah, just I mean, I guess if we go a few minutes over, it's not going to kill anything, right?
Okay, how about I just try to get through to the end here of what you've got, and then we'll go from there.
Wonderful.
All right. God, I don't even care if you keep dating her. I'm just tired and pretending that this is okay. I'm so fucking sick of all the things you make me feel. All the pain and numbness and stupid emotions. I just want it to stop. I hate how you let them tell you what to do. You're not supposed to give a fuck. Why do you care now? Jesus, I just wanted to fight with you today. Why couldn't I have that one thing? Things used to make sense. It doesn't make sense anymore. It just hurts. You say it's gonna get better, and you say you're not gonna forget me, but oh God, you keep forgetting me. All I want is things to be normal. I wish I could just go back to when you didn't exist in my life. I hate you, Greg Tucker. I hate you and your emotionlessness and your lies and your fucking and your smile. I hate myself. I hate what I am. I want to be normal and not feel this way. Maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I really am just crazy.
It's so good. Oh, don't laugh evilly at me. I wrote this to make you people cry. You're not supposed to make me cry. That's not fair. Oh my god. Oh. Like, seriously, that kind of voice, that's gonna actually, like, get people to be, like, to feel the same emotions they do when reading it. That's amazing. You just have every single piece of it. Ah.
I'm like trying really hard to stay calm right now because you're making me really, really embarrassed, but at the same time I kind of want to use that energy, so
use all the energy. It's making it, like, amazing. Oh my gosh.
Jesus, how does he expect me to answer a question like that? I don't get it. What did he mean? You're like a broken machine. Oh God, why did I say that? That just sounded so bad. He's already upset. I'm just gonna make it worse. I mean, you're made of gears inside, right? So some of your gears are loose. You're not usually scary, but sometimes you are. And then sometimes you're never scared. But you can get scared, and that's because your gears are all out of line. I sound crazy. Why am I still talking? But that's okay, since if you were a robot, you'd be like everyone else in this town. So you're a broken clockwork angel, because you're perfect most of the time until you break down and aren't.
I wish that Mama T was here, because if she was here, then I'd feel comfortable with just, like, handing you the part right now, because it's so good. Oh my gosh. This is so... You are really good at this. You are so good at this.
Thank you.
I don't mean to make you feel embarrassed. I mean, except, oh my gosh.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm probably making you feel, like, really self-conscious right now. And
it's totally fine. I'm honestly really flattered, but I'm also, like, doing tweak gets me all in tweak mode, and I'm already kind of naturally very close to tweak mode, and so you'll note that I'm talking a lot faster now, so...
I don't... Okay, so if this is gonna put you in, like, a bad mental state, then don't do it, but...
No, it's not a bad mental state. It's just a very...
special mental state.
I'm a very jittery person, and then I'm also not, and I can be very calm and, like, down to earth and all of that. And then I get like this a lot, and it's like really, I don't know, like I'm just shaking and I'm very excited, and I have a lot of ups and downs with my energy, and I've also done a lot of acting stuff. I'm not an actor though. That is not a thing that I am. But yeah.
Man, no. You're a good voice actor.
Thank you. I've always wanted to believe that.
Wow, oh my gosh. I was trying to message Mama T to see if she'll, like, listen to this after we're done so she can hear some of this, because I really just want to give you the part right now, which I shouldn't be saying. I should be all professional and be like, we'll consider it. But I'm really unprofessional and don't know what I'm doing.
Anything that you would like to hear done in a tweak voice?
Oh, you're just really good at this part. Like, what I really want is I want to get, like, a really good Craig to try to see how well you can play off of it, or a good tweak narrator, or a good
I like that idea.
Yes, especially a good tweak narrator. If I could get, like, that dynamic down. I have a couple people who are coming on who I'm thinking either that I think if I can get them to be the Craig narrator and the tweak narrator, like, if their voices are perfect for it, I don't know what they're going to sound like. I don't know if they're going to be good or bad or what, but from what I'm talking to them, if I can get them to be the narrators for that, that would be so awesome. It would be just really nice. And
well, here's what I can say. So you said you guys are going to be meeting tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
I can,
depending on what your load is like, I would be down to drop by again.
That would be really cool, actually. If you could drop by, there are going to be quite a few people. I think I'm going to be up to like 5 people auditioning at the same time, roughly, which might start lagging the stream a little, which I might need to then, bring people in and out as I see fit. Maybe I'll go against my better judgment and make them public or something so that, that, like they can be watching it, and then just jump in when we need them. People can jump in and out. I don't know how I'll work that out. I'll probably do like a test stream with some people.
Well, I definitely, I don't have plans tomorrow until around now, like the time I'd be like leaving anyway. So it's just a matter of like I said, I'd be getting there a little bit later.
And most of the people are going to be showing up around 9:30 instead of 8. Actually, there's some people who are showing up 8:30, some people are showing up at 9:30. I have somebody who's auditioning at 5:30, but I think they're the one who's auditioning for Cartman, so
okay. Well, I definitely would be able to get around, like, I'm usually home by around 9 your time. So yeah, like that's my like daily get home by 6 o'clock kind of dealy. It was just getting there any earlier than that was a problem. So
yeah,
if people are around, I will probably just, shoot you a message on Google and we can see if there's room for one more.
Wonderful. I just, you know what? Okay, so I'm worried this is going to be preemptive. I really want to add you into because I have 2 Discords currently. I have one that's specifically for people who have like gotten their roles already.
I can barely hear you right now. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my mic is being weird again. But I have 2 Discords. One for like just semantically challenged in general, and one for people who specifically are doing the audiobook and who have parts already. The only people with like parts already figured out are on there. I don't know if I really want to. I have the same problem with person who's I heard the voice for Kyle for. I'm pretty sure I want her to voice Kyle, but I don't know. It's so annoying that I'm having to leave options open when I really just want to give you guys these parts, especially when you do so well at them. But I'm starting to see like something take shape because I do have somebody. Again, the one guy who was there last night, and not last night, Tuesday night, he did a pretty good Craig voice.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really
well. Like I said, I definitely have the experience to work well off of others.
That would be good. Because I get the feeling he's not as experienced, but at the same time, I'm trying to would it work well? I'm trying to see best. His is going to definitely take a little bit more because you could tell he was nervous, probably because he was in a stream with a bunch of girls he never met before who are all giggling helplessly at literally everything because it's 10 o'clock and we're all exhausted. But yeah, so I'm definitely gonna have to talk to you more. I am gonna show this to Mama T and see what she thinks about it because I think that she's gonna like it. I feel like I need to not make any specific commitments for stuff like this, but I really like your tweak voice. And I don't know if I'm going to get anything better than that. I find it hard to believe that somebody would be able to get it that close to not just what I imagined, but better than what I had imagined for tweak. So, yeah. Oh my gosh. I love listening to you talk. It's so doing the tweak voice is amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just like a mess now of emotions because now I've just gone through a whole bunch of emotions from chapters that were painful to write, and now I'm listening to them and I'm saying, no mess.
I'm just wishing I had another piece to say because I meant to actually grab something and then it just didn't happen.
I'm trying to think of any other big parts where he has really good lines. I can think of several off the top of my head where Craig has some good lines. But
Yeah.
where does Tweak really? I mean, he has some good lines, and like especially in chapter 30, he has a lot of thoughts in chapter 44. I think 45 has some good lines.
40,
Obviously, yeah,
45 is Craig.
Oh yeah, but Tweak does have
Let
some
me
good
see.
lines in that one because he's on the tree,
Go
he's
back.
upset, he's like he's more subdued there, and he's
Oh, yeah.
obviously. I wish I'd already finished the next chapter because then I'd have lots of lines of Tweak if he's fighting and working out all of that angst, and of course, me from Kenny's perspective, my beautiful son child Kenny. Oh. I get the feeling a lot of people hate his character, but at the same
Oh
time.
no, I love Kenny. He's such a little shit. I love it.
That's the only way I know how to describe it at this point. He's just like he's so he's like the corrupt, like almost villain, the anti-hero to Butter's just like pure goodness, which is what makes them the best, like perfect couple.
Yeah.
Works perfect. What?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying that I kind of always got it from like he has a much broader awareness of the world, and so he can come off as kind of evil because he's like coming at everything with like the actual reality kind of broader understanding, whereas everyone else is kind of like kid, smaller mindset understanding.
You know, actually,
That's
that's
what I
like a
got out
really
of it
good way to
anyway.
describe it. I'm sure I've used that description in my many like tired rants I've put in my stories, but I mean yeah, that's actually a really good way to like compare them because Butters is like the most naive character in the entire series.
Yeah.
He thinks everything
Like
is going to turn out all right.
Awareness.
Yes. And you have Kenny who knows that nothing is going to turn out all right. That life is shit. And he's experienced the shittiest parts of it over and over and over again until he's numb to it. He's become numb to like the worst parts of humanity. And
yeah, I like to think of it as like Kenny's a little shit, Craig's even keel, and Tweak's the spaz.
They're all awesome. They're all pretty dang awesome characters. I love Kenny especially is just a really fun character to play with because every like story I've seen him in, he's kind of portrayed as being this kind of character who knows everybody. You know, a lot of these other characters, have their specific groups. Like you don't see Craig talking to Kyle ever, for any reason, or like Cartman, except when he has to, or Stan. In fact, we've even seen stories where him and Stan just have this unnecessary rivalry. They don't even know why they don't like each other. They're just like, I don't like you. Let's fight. Amusing and at multiple levels. I love it. Good stories. But yeah. But Kenny just is like he's part of this group, he's part of that group. He talks to the girls, as you see in earlier seasons, and I guess probably in later seasons as well. He's connected to. He's got his obvious ties to Cartman's gang, but he also seems to show up around other characters as well. He does kind of fit very well with Tweak.
He's got a wider lens, and he's also got a wider reach.
Well, he does.
He sees more, and he can also reach out to more.
I think that probably all has to do with the fact that he dies so much, which is funny that like the thing that everybody turned into a gag has been turned by the fandom into like this huge meta issue.
Yeah.
I'll
be honest, like when I said that your fic had ruined me, it was very true. Like this was the first, this was the second fic I think I ever read in the South Park fandom. And I've since read more and learned more. It's still nothing really holds a candle to this, but
oh no. Okay, so if you want a story that definitely will, I mean, in my opinion, and this is probably, I don't know if everybody agrees with me, but it was the second South Park fan fiction I ever read. The first one I read was Tweak and Craig's story. First one I clicked on, and Tweak and Craig's characters were so horribly It was terrible. The second one I read, it was called Macabre by Error Unknown User.
I
And
think I've read that one.
you might have seen it around, you might have read it even. But it was up to chapter 16. Hasn't updated in over a year now. Long time. It was an excellent, excellent story. I mean, they were building it off of like them being older, aged up characters. You know, Tweak's become a recluse who just works at his parents' coffee shop and doesn't really talk to anybody. Kenny, has gotten a job there, is selling drugs in the back room, has convinced Tweak to start doing marijuana, you know. So Tweak's getting high to deal with the fact that he's depressed and he's crazy. And
Well, it's definitely in my history, and this definitely.
have you read the entire thing?
I don't think I have.
Because I mean, I don't know. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember if the first chapter. I mean, okay, so
It's on my to read list. Okay, so it's on my mark for later.
Yeah,
Okay.
that story was the inspiration behind me ever really getting into this fandom. I mean, it's funny. It took me a year and a half after reading it to be like, okay, let's try to write some Tweak and Craig. First time I tried to write it, it was really funny. I did it from Craig's perspective, and it's like a prototype to Semantically Challenged, and it's horrible. I hope to God nobody ever finds it on my hard drive because it's so bad, and it's like 10,000 words of just shit.
I said it. I'm gonna go ahead and show you.
Oh, so cute! Such fluffy little babies. Oh, so adorable. They have like a little.
You've been hearing me talk about them all night, so.
Yes, they're listening intently. They're like, just talk about us more. We're clearly awesome. Yes, but yeah, it's a really good story. Yeah, I mean, it's got some serious self-harm. It deals with serious self-harm, but it deals with it well. It was the first story that really taught me how to deal with depression in a realistic way instead of treating it like this, that like lazy plot point, like, oh yeah, and the character's depressed.
Yeah. I feel like
Read, but it really shaped my entire view of these characters. Like Kenny's character pretty much directly from it. I might have made him a little bit more all-knowing and a little bit more of shit than he was in Macabre, but he really is just total piece of shit. I love it. He's he's trying to make Tweak feel better, but at the same time he's clearly, messing with Tweak and trying to make Craig jealous, and it's so well done. And by the time they finally get together, I think it's like in chapter 10 or something. By the time they get together, you're just like screaming because it's so good. I wish I could write a plot line that was that succinct and well done and well thought out. But yeah, move that up in your read later list. That one is the best.
I definitely will.
Yes, I will totally tell anybody who will listen to read that story because it just, man, I learned so much. One of my favorite things that they put in there, actually two of them. One of them is this canon thing that Craig just cannot name his guinea pigs anything other than Stripe. He just keeps on naming him Stripe, and he's gonna keep on naming him Stripe forever. And this is what. Yeah, that like highlighted for me because I guess it's like a thing, but they don't really touch on it specifically. This really like pointed it out because Tweak makes a point of saying it's like, wait, because Craig has two guinea pigs that aren't named Stripe, and he's like, oh, and he's like, yeah, my parents wouldn't let me name them 5 and 6.
That's excellent.
I know. So he names them Zig and Zag because more stripes.
Nice.
I love it. And also how he pops his peas. I got that from the story.
There's all like, I really enjoy a lot of the little like characteristics that get built on in stories that you can tell were built on from other stories in the kind of fic community.
I do take things like I kind of like see ideas that I already like, kind of been toying with or had like this vague idea. It's like I want something that does this. And I see it and I'm like, you know what? The rest of the story might be but I could take this and make it really big.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of the fun of being in a community where you're all kind of developing on existing characters. Because there's stuff that people will glean out of this character that we've been presented with on like a one-dimensional basis. Like one of the things, like I don't know if you Bob's Burgers at all, but
I haven't really seen much of it, but continue.
okay, well, there's this like it's not something you would expect there to be much of a fandom in terms of fan fiction for, and for the most part, it's a small community, but there's some good stuff. But there's this one that takes two of the younger characters, a side character, and then one of the main characters, and just the things that like they pull from this like one-dimensional thing, because Bob's Burgers is a lot like South Park. You're only really given lots of episodes of things to pull from, but the characters aren't given a whole ton of depth, and it's on purpose.
Yeah.
But then fans pick out those details that have been like shown, and they elaborate on them in such a way that it's like, this just seems natural, this just seems right. And then you'll see other people in the sort of like fandom pick up on that and either develop further from it or adopt parts of it and like leave some parts out that don't make as much sense. And I feel like you kind of get almost a more like a character with a lot more depth. And that's kind of why I like fan fiction, is that you end up becoming more intrigued and interested in characters that you already know and are already comfortable with, or already angry with, or make you feel a certain way, but you feel like you know them a lot better, even if that's not necessarily what the original creator was looking to do.
I have to agree. I actually, one of the fandoms I'm part of, Durarara, I have watched 2 episodes of the anime and I've read 4 of the manga, and I don't know how many manga there are. There are a lot. And I just started writing because I started reading fan fiction, and I have completely built my lore off of the fan fiction. And I've been told that it's some of the best fan fiction out there, and I think it's just because I've taken these like the best parts of what everybody's writing, the best parts of what everybody's seeing, and turning them into something new. That's I mean, it's like stuff like I mean, I got the thing where Craig like will pat Tweek's head. I got that from another story, I think. It's just like when they said it once. It was just like this one-time thing that was like Craig patted Tweek's head and made Tweek calm down. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I like that. I believe that he would, because they show it in the actual show that he like uses physical contact to calm down. I feel like as like a child, that would be kind of normal. I mean, I when I was younger, that was how I used to communicate with people. Is this kind of like weird, I'd like pat them on their heads instead of, I don't know, any other weird thing. That was just my thing I did. I didn't really like hugging people, so I patted them on their head.
I actually
So I felt like yeah.
Sorry. When I was having panic attacks and such, one of the things that one of my in my community, there were a lot of us that had mental health issues. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we did was called head scritchies. And it's literally just sort of like someone on your head, just like you'll probably have noticed I've been sitting here doing this a lot, just out of nerves.
Yeah, it's fine, it's I do stuff like I pull on my hair, which is I can really relate to Tweek and this whole like the need to like try to pull the pressure out. So it's like a head is like a very sensitive part of your body, and it's like it just is very comforting to have something touching, which is why I don't know.
I mean like basically one of the many things that I really related to with Tweek in your story was that kind of like that pressure making you feel like you can calm down. Like pressure on your body helps you to calm down. Because it's definitely something that's almost always been true for me. I have a lot of friends who are very much the opposite. Like, please don't touch me. I am freaking out. Please don't touch me. That is a terrible idea. That is a terrible plan, and you are going to get hurt. But with me, it's like, okay, I am freaking this shit out. And then someone will just like literally just like hold my shoulder or like pat my head or like whatever. And it's just like, okay, I have something to ground me now.
Yeah, and that's what. But I mean, I kind of pulled both of them for Tweak. Kind of have Tweak. He doesn't like getting touched by anybody else.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I mean, like I haven't like specifically like said it outright. I don't think, but I do show whenever like other characters try to touch him. He'll
It's
kind of shrug out from under it and get that kind of antsy, nervous. Like I don't like it.
And it fits. It fits for the kind of dynamic that you're trying to develop for the story. Also, I just realized it's almost 11 o'clock your time. You should go.
Oh shit! I have 4,000 words for tonight.
Yeah, and I feel really bad now because you're gonna be up later.
No, don't worry. If I have to, I'm sure everybody will understand if I post something tomorrow. I mean,
Good.
especially for during this audition week, it's going to be kind of my updates are going to be a little bit more sporadic than usual. Maybe like every other day. Feel really bad about that.
I wouldn't honestly, because what we're gonna be trying to make here is gonna be so much like awesome that they're gonna be able to probably be getting, like decently regular audios, and
As
then
well
also
as
getting
daily updates.
chapters. Like they can't complain about having to like get delayed for like a week while the, the auditions are happening.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like try to delay them too much. And once I got everything off the ground, a lot of this I'll probably be able to, just have you guys come together in different groups. I'll probably have other moderators, probably at different time zones, if that's at all possible. If I can find people who can kind of oversee things in different time zones.
Well, I mean, there's that, and there's also the fact that you're probably going to want to have people who are recording in like main interaction roles to be recording not at the same time necessarily, but with enough feedback, like either somebody reading the lines in response or just the actual person reading the lines in response. Because I don't know, again, I don't know how much experience you have with this kind of stuff, but there's definitely like a significant amount of you need to have somebody reading back the stuff to you, it just doesn't sound right when you're recording it.
Yes. I definitely agree. And I kind of want to be around for the sole purpose of I want to be able to make the executive author decisions where it's like, I like the emotion you gave this character better, therefore we're going to change the narration. Or these words didn't sound right when you read them out loud. Let's just change the wording. I don't want people to feel like, oh no, I'm messing with the story. It's like, no, the story is meant to be messed with. It's meant to be pushed and pulled and strung out in every which way so it looks nice in the end.
Yeah.
And definitely, I agree that a lot of people who have like major interactions together, I'll try to get them to read lines together. For instance, Butters and Kenny, Stan and Kyle. I don't have a Stan yet. Still need to find a really good Stan, but I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, I'm gonna get one in the next few auditions coming up. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get a good Stan. Whoever it is, though, they need to be able to work well with Kyle. I have, hopefully, obviously Tweak and Craig. Whoever those two are going to be, they're just going to need to be like best friends by the end of this. Because, yeah, yep. I mean, of course, there are probably going to be certain chapters where, like, I leave certain amounts out just for YouTube guidelines. In fact, because man, the story is rated E. It's going to get there eventually, someday. Long time in the future. It's gonna take forever. But it'll get there. Anyway, yeah. So
Well, yeah, and if you do need any help with the mixing, just in terms of laying out who goes where, I mean, depending on whatever the the amount of load that I have for whatever role I get cast in, I can have more or less time available to do it because I do work 40 plus hours a week and have like a whole bunch of other stuff that I do. But
But
yeah.
Yeah, and especially because I'm so far ahead with the chapters and the audiobook, it'll be good because we might be able, if you have a good time, you guys, like, you and whoever's playing Craig can sit down and perhaps, just like do a bunch of the lines.
Yeah.
Go over like several chapters at once. And we can
Ideally, it'd be cool if we could figure out the Craig narrator, the Tweak narrator, the Craig and the Tweak to get all together.
Yes. Those people all need to kind of, yeah, those people especially just all need to be very understanding of like the way each other, like everybody works, and very comfortable, because I don't want to lose anything in translation because somebody is nervous. about being around other people and recording with other people, and I don't know. We'll see. Again, because the person
Well, I'm
who,
excited.
I know, I'm so excited too, and you did a really good tweak. And so yeah, I personally will be placing my money on you being Tweak. Just saying. So, you know, I guess you could say you'll know when you get the invite to the special Discord for the people auditioning. And you'll just be able to set your name there as Tweak, and we'll be good to go. So everybody will know which character is which. You know.
All right.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We already have a couple people there, Kenny, Heidi, and Butters. Really random, but you know,
That's the way it comes out. That's the way it comes out.
yeah, voices just strike me, and I just, it's like, yes, you, which is kind of what I'm doing with you and Tweet. And I don't know. I don't want to. I mean, like somebody just sent in, like literally just a few minutes ago, just sent in an audition for Tweak, and I'm like, how am I supposed to listen to this after listening to you? You're killing me here. Oh well.
I don't know. I will admit that is. Uh-oh. He disappeared. Well, now I feel weird. I should just turn this off. Yep. No. I'm both torn between like the amusement of this being I feel really bad for just like breaking out my pipe. I'm gonna just close the video off now. Goodbye. I feel really bad for just like breaking out my pipe. I'm gonna just close the video off now.
Bye.